Hi, everyone. Mike White here. Welcome to this week's blog post. I know it's been a couple of weeks since we last connected, but it has been a really productive time for me. Been spending a lot of time reading and writing and having meetings with people across the industry to, really gauge where our market is and what the different outlooks are of people moving forward and how some of the consolidation that's been taking place and some of the changes both in the mortgage and real estate industry are not only generating challenges for people, but also, you know, really generating tremendous opportunities. And I think it's really important, that we step back and we look at these things from time to time, certainly from my side and certainly from your side, because the movement in the industry can be such that we can often get distracted and we can get all tied up in momentum and outside events that may or may not impact us to the degree that some people believe they do. It is always one of those things where market movements or theories or why certain things cause certain other things to happen or not happen or what have you can often take hold of the market. And I think now is a really important and appropriate time for us to stop, review, schedule, and really look to execute and do the things that we need to be doing on a regular basis, understanding that the fundamental piece of what we do, which is help people buy and sell houses, help people finance real property, help people lower the cost of their monthly payments or take the same monthly payment and move to uh, a place that serves their needs better. And that happens every day. And it reminds me of, people talk whether their interest rates are interest rates or this or that. Interest rates are still historically below uh, 30-year fixed rate averages over the last 50 years. Interest rates are still in line with where they were, this time last year. Yes, interest rates have been volatile. The markets have been volatile, but it's not something that we haven't run up against. And I think it's really important that we take a step back and grab hold of where we are and understand that, ironically, we can be pressured by all these outside forces into running down into a giant rabbit hole of just being busy and not understanding that we are in a spot where we've just concluded tax season, at least for the most part. There are still places in this country that have until May 1st to file because of weather last year. But here we are getting close to the end of April, and you've got a really good look. If you look at your pipeline, if you look at where you are year to date, if you look what's already going on, you got a pretty good guess or be able to estimate what your income, I mean, what money you're actually going to receive in the first half of this year. Because let's face it, it's not only do the deals that we have in the pipeline have to close, but then they have to go through the system and you have to get paid. When you start looking at it now, you've got a pretty good idea of the net dollars that you're going to have by the end of the first half of the year. Now, that doesn't mean just because it's the 6 month point and your first half income doesn't necessarily mean it's half the revenue that you're going to generate for yourself for the entire year. I'm saying it's a point of reflection and you need to take a look at that in advance because you can't wait until the last minute to make a move. And when you think about this, going forward, it's very real. We're at the end of April. We're going into May. May's going to bring us, into Mother's Day and the beginning of the end of the school year in some places. May's going to conclude into June, and June is going to have, Father's Day and the rest of the places in this country that are going to conclude their school year. A lot's going to happen in the next 60 to 90 days. And if you're not preparing for them, they can get right up on you. And a lot of things that you were looking to do or needed to do or wanted to do are going to come and go, and that opportunity is going to disappear. So you got to get out in front of it. And again, you've got to ask yourself, based upon my plan for this year, you know, is this year slipping away from you, or are you at or ahead of where you had anticipated? Based upon what you're seeing, how are things going? And I came up with 6 very simple questions that you need to be asking yourself this week and making sure you're addressing them, you know, certainly sooner rather than later, and certainly within, uh, the next 7 to 10 days, to make sure that you're approaching May in a position to execute as opposed to, get wrapped up in being busy. So the 6 questions that I think you need to address is, you know, where are all the holidays in your schedule? Not only is there Mother's Day and Father's Day and end of school, but you've also got personal family birthdays, anniversaries, weddings, certain local things, certain local events that are part of that calendar that you need to be aware of to make sure that you're accounting for those events, you're planning for those events, and you're scheduling any time off necessary for you, to take advantage of those things. The second question comes out to is, when does my school year end, and when is it going to pick up and begin the next semester at the end of the summer? Because you need to be prepared for that cycle. That cycle is widely different in different parts of the country. And so there are a lot of people who are preparing for their kids to get out of school in the next few weeks. There are other people who don't get out of school until the end of June. Some of your, markets are, their kids are going to go back to school the first week of August, and other people are not going to go back until the second week of September. Those are things you need to address, you need to be aware of. The other part that you have to look at is with your business plan is, are my referral partners meeting the projections, right? Are they performing the way I had anticipated? Are they posting the numbers that I thought they were going to be? Any surprises? People better, people worse? Any new referral partners that you didn't see on the radar that have, shown up and are generating, business opportunities for you at a fairly good rate? You've got to address these things, and you've got to modify your plan to make sure that everything that you had anticipated doing, knowing the why behind the result. Again, your personal projections need to be on target, right? The craziest thing is, we start the business planning in October, they project all these results for their referral partners, and they never go back and they never look and they never track and they never see whether or not they're on track to meet or exceed those expectations. And then they look in October when we go to do the next year's business plan, and they're shocked at how, oh, this person, I thought I was going to do this and I only did that. The time to get on top of that stuff is now, to make sure that you're on top of it. The other thing is again, personal time, and really scheduling those vacations. Again, we talk about this a lot. If you're not scheduling your time off, those long weekends, that one minimum major vacation where you're taking 10 days to 2 weeks, unencumbered by your business. If you're not already out in front of that, and if you don't already have that plan, chances are good you may not be taking those vacations this year, because it's going to get real hectic real quick, and time's going to slip away, and then the opportunity to get out in front of doing that is going to disappear. And with that goes the last question is, what does my team need? What are my referral partners? Who's going away? What time off are they going to have? What's going on in their lives? Are there major events surrounding them that you need to account for? And if you're not going to do these things, these 6 things are, amazingly incredible. It won't take you long to do, but it could really save you in the long run. So even the best plans, and I know people who write really great business plans, but even the best plans require adjustments. But you know what? The less than optimal plans, the plans that are not working out as you had anticipated, well, guess what? Those plans, they require adjustments even more. And if you're having questions with that, if you need help with doing that, if you need to figure out how to stop, review, schedule, and then go do the plan or the activities necessary to execute your plan, reach out. It's Mike, imtcoaching.com. We'll talk to you again next week. Take care.